Hey everyone, welcome back to Alchemy with Zero Phase. This is Eric. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to do face transfers or be able to create consistent faces on multiple characters, as well as moving or giving different types of images a face, or the same face. And so, meaning what I mean by that is, let's say you have a realistic image and you want to kind of transfer an anime face to that image. We're going to show you how to do that, and vice versa. So, a lot of people have asked me about this. They have been using the extension either Roop or the newer version, which I apologize, I can't remember. It was like something Forge. Anyway. Those extensions don't really do very well when it comes to cross transfer of faces between different types of images, whether it's cartoon to real, real to cartoon. And I was very frustrated with those. And honestly, lately, the Roop extension and the newer version, for some reason, stopped working on my version or installation of Automatic 11.11. So I started doing a little looking around, and I finally found a technique that actually works better, honestly. That uses ControlNet and the IP adapters, and we're going to go through and show you how to do that. So just as some examples here, one of the images I was working with was this one right here. So this is the source image, and I wanted to transfer, let's say, this face to that source image. Okay, so now there's lots of different ways you can do this, and I'm going to show you just some examples of what I was doing. Starting with the original one, so like this one right here, obviously the inpainting, I didn't have the inpainting set up right on that one, but as I went along, I figured out a technique of just basically masking out the entire thing, and gradually getting better and better at figuring out like how to actually transfer this face, and even getting to the point where I was able to turn the face too. So this can be done with a wide range of images, and we're going to show you how to do that. So first thing we want to do, this is going to be done, it's going to be done under the image to image tab. Now, there's a couple ways we can do this, whether it's image to image or in painting. Now, if you have a source image that you want to keep most of the image, you just want to replace the face with, you're going to be using the in painting tab. Okay. If you don't mind changing kind of the source image a little bit, and getting a more blended and more natural look of the face that you're trying to transfer, you can use the image to image. But I'm going to show you both, and we'll kind of go and walk you through this whole thing. Okay, so to set up, we're going to need a source image. Okay, so what I want to do, we're just going to pull in one of these images that I've been working with. Actually, let's just generate one. I kind of like Vikings. We're going to do that. Let's go like this. I want it to be a good picture too. Centered, everything. Okay. We're just going to get a prompt on this and run with that. Okay, let's grab that. Come back over here. We're going to generate a few images just to see. Okay, first thing I want to do, I'm going to generate this image in SDXL. Reason why, it just produces better images. Okay, I use this Sahastra Kotai model, great model. I'm not going to use a negative prompt just because with SDXL, you mostly don't need to. We're going to set this up as a portrait image, and let's generate like 4 of them just to see what we can get. Okay, I had to modify a few things. I was generating using different settings than I normally would have. But now that we got our images, let's go down here. I am going to probably just take this one right here, just because the face is in a good place. You'll be able to see the changes, the differences. And we'll have some fun with this. So we're going to send this over to InPainting. So before we continue, there's a couple things you need to have in place. You got to have ControlNet installed. Okay, this is using what's called the IP adapter. So we come down here to ControlNet, And what we need to do first, though, is I'm going to show you where to get these particular IP adapter models. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is go to Hugging Face, and I'll put these links in the description. You're going to be looking for the IP adapter tree main models, sort of just IP adapters H94, and the very specific model that we're going to be working with is called IP adapter plus face SD15 safe tensors. Okay. When you download this file, you're going to save it into your Stable Diffusion Web UI extensions SD Web UI ControlNet models folder. Okay, so it's basically the models folder that is under the ControlNet extension. You're just going to save it into there. Okay. And this is assuming you already have ControlNet installed. If you don't, there's we have a basic tutorial on that, but it's just install the extension, restart your interface. You can install it right from the searchable extensions under available, or you can go find the URL and install it that way. Okay. So now that we've got our image and we've got our IP adapter model in the extension, the models folder under the ControlNet extension, we're going to send our picture over to InPaint, and we're going to adjust our brush accordingly because we want to. We're going to be changing just the face. We want to keep everything else. Okay. Now, a couple of things as I've worked with this that I found anyway is you can just mask out, say this part of the face, and leave everything else the same, and you'll get a decent result. The problem you might run into is you'll get this weird seam depending on how you do it. I typically like to give it a little bit more range. We're going to include a lot more of the beard on this. Okay, we don't need to do all the hair, and we're going to include this seam as close up to the hat as possible. Okay. Now this IP adapter is a 1.5 based model adapter, or the model for the ControlNet adapter. So we're going to switch this over to a 1.5 model. We're going to switch over to my favorite, which is the Azovia RPG Artist Tools. We're going to use the V3 inpainting model. And with this particular model, you need to use a VAE. So we're just going to switch over to the VAE FDMSE 840,000. It's a standard VAE model that most checkpoints that don't have it baked in use. I'll have to check and see if RPG Artist Tools has their inpainting model with the baked-in VAE. I don't know if they do or not. This is typically how I do it. So I have my prompt. I've got it switched over to 1.5 model. We've got the VAE model. Okay, because we're using a 1.5 model, we are going to use a negative prompt. Okay. Then we're going to come down here and start adjusting the inpainting settings. So we've got our mask. And we want to come down here. We're going to adjust the mask blur to be a little more, basically incorporate more around the edges. We're inpainting only the mask. We're going to use the original, and we're only going to inpaint the masked area. Okay. Now, you get a better result when you increase the sampling steps. So usually right around 40 to 50 sampling steps gives you a great result. It helps blend it. It's able to incorporate the face better. Gives it more space, I don't know, to work with. It's better. I don't know if there's a better way to do that. Because we're doing only masked, we are going to switch this to a 1x1, and we're working with a 1.5 model, so we're going to switch this down to at most 768. Okay. The RPG Artist tool works really well at 768, even slightly above that. It still gives great results, but I like to work right around 768. We can leave the rest of these the same. You can tweak them, whatever. You can do batch count if you want to get different, comparable results. But we're going to move right down to ControlNet now. We're going to select the first one, the ControlNet Unit 0. If you only have one unit on this, you can go under Settings. I'll show you real quick where this is. We're going to go to ControlNet. Okay, we'll scroll up here. And right here where it says multi-ControlNet, ControlNet unit number, you can switch that to whatever you want. Okay, And it gives you the ability to stack ControlNet modifications. Okay, I'm going to show you how to use 2 in this tutorial. We're probably not going to use 3. I don't see any reason why we'd need to. There are situations where you'd want to do the face IP adapter, open pose to position the face, and then a reference if you want to reference more of the style. But I've not had to use the 3rd one quite a bit yet. I might do some more experimenting. So let's head back over to image, and we are on inpainting tab again. We've got the width and height the same. Okay, we're down to ControlNet here. We're going to enable it. We're going to do pixel perfect, and we're going to upload an independent control image. And this is the image that we're going to try and overlay, or the face we're going to try and overlay on the masked area. Okay. Come on down here. We're going to select IP adapter. It should automatically select the IP adapter clip SD15, but over here you may need to change this if you have other IP adapters, but if not, it should automatically select the IP adapter plus face SD15. Okay. Now, the 3 main settings you're going to be working with to really adjust this to get the result you want is going to be the control weight and the starting control step, and maybe the denoise strength, depending on how much you want to change the original image before Stable Diffusion or before ControlNet starts doing its thing. I think we're going to leave the denoise strength where it's at right now. We need to drop an image in there, so let's grab an image out of one of our images here, and I want to give this guy, I mean, he's got a pretty rugged look. Let's give him an even more rugged look. Okay, I've got a pretty rugged looking guy here. We're going to see if we can't ruggedize that Viking a little bit. And we got a guy that's just disheveled, very disheveled. Okay, so we're going to try and keep the intensity. A lot of the times when doing this method, it'll incorporate the facial motions of the image we're going to be copying the face from. So his mouth is closed, but I'll show you how to adjust that. That'll all be done with the control weight. Okay, so we've got that image in there. We've done the basic setup here. Let's just go ahead and render out an image and show you what this looks like. Okay, so let's come up here. We'll hit generate. Shouldn't take too long to spool this up and throw out the image. We're only doing 1 in the batch, so you get an idea of what this is doing. We're at 50 steps. Okay. Okay, it's done rendering. This is the result. And yeah, we got a much more disheveled looking Viking. He's actually looking very concerned, you know. It kind of incorporated both types of beards, which is interesting. And, you know, actually, that's a really good job. Did a really good job. Now, we're going to adjust this a little bit. So we want to keep some of the original intensity of the face while incorporating the disheveledness, as if you want to call it that. So we're going to drop the control weight down. Actually, yeah, we can drop the control weight down. The other thing we can do is start doing, you know, change the starting control step to a little bit later to see if we can incorporate more of the emotions on the face. So let's regenerate that. All right, yeah, so we kept the mouth open. I'm not sure why he's got glowing eyes this time, but by adjusting those levels, you can see how it will incorporate the emotion of the original one while bringing in a lot of the details of the face you're trying to incorporate, along with the beard too. You can come down here, you can kind of see he's just wrinkly. You're getting a lot of that in there too. So we can actually bring this up more, back to 1. And this right here, the starting control step, I think worked pretty well. I'm going to see if I can drop that down a little bit more here to see if we can make it look a little bit more like the new image, but still keeping the face that way. Oh, mouth is going to be closed, it looks like. Yeah, the control weight definitely plays a huge part in this. it down to 0.65. It looks like the hat's a little bit up off his head there. Render this one more time here. That one's looking a lot better. You know, the mouth is not open, but the detail on the face is amazing. So let's move on to showing you how to do this with, say, moving from, you know, either an illustrated image like this to more cartoon like anime or something like that. And in fact, we'll use this same image here, and let's grab instead, let's grab a, God, I want something that's very anime. I don't know if this will do it. These are not flat cartoon anime. Let's see what this looks like. You could try that. Let's just run it, see what it looks like. Let's go ahead and bring this back up to 0.8. Generate that. So I did incorporate that pretty decently. It took the beard and kind of made that as part of like a metallic part of the armor, which was interesting. So I would not like this one too. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. It just doesn't quite fit. I'm thinking I would probably want a different image to put this on. So let's work with something else. Let's generate a different image. Let's see, let's go over here, and I want, let's do anime cartoon style portrait of a beautiful green-haired woman. Yep. Try that again. There we go. Make sure we actually get it copied. Throw them back over here and throw that in there. We're going to switch this back over to I think I'm going to try. There was one I used earlier that gave a better, I think it was Juggernaut. Gives a better rendition of anime. I have to switch that one off. Let's switch this off to that one. Been having issues where if I say none, it for some reason is not unloading the VAE for the 1.5 models, and it ends up giving me some weird results. Let's give that a try and see what we get. Oops. Yeah, those will be great. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I accidentally hit skip on the first image, but these other ones are great. We're going to go ahead and use those. So we're going to send this over to InPaint. Wipe out our mask here once it gets that in. Come on. So weird. There we go. Okay. And what we're going to do with this one, we're just going to do the face. Okay. Do this here. We'll do the ears too, but we're just going to come down to here and just outline the face. Okay. Now for the source image, let's pick something that looks a little more realistic. Got a couple of different options here. Let's grab this one. Okay. And as you can see, the face is in a different position than this face, but it should be able to adapt the face pretty well. And I'll even show you how to incorporate OpenPose to change the position of the face as well. That will require masking out more of the hair. So we're going to just try the face on this one. I think we're going to grab some of the neck here too. Okay. Let's just see what that does. We're going to change the sampling steps up to 50 again. We're going to go here, change this back over to our RPG Artist tool in painting model. Change this back to our VAE. I know there's ways to like save configuration settings, so you just click one thing and it switches everything. I haven't quite dived into that yet. I think it'd be interesting to learn how to do that to speed things up. Okay, only masked. Again, we're doing an in painting. We've masked it out. We're doing only masked as the in painting. We're doing the original. Okay, 50 steps. For this, we're going to switch it over to Euler. I think it'll be a little quicker, as well as give us the more softer look that we are looking for. I'm going to change this up to 0.8 to randomize the face a little bit more, the original face. We have to re-enable this and re-enable Pixel Perfect, and then come back down here. See if we can just, I don't know why ControlNet does this. When you switch away and render, say, on the text to image, it switches off of, or it disables this. I don't understand why. There we go. Okay. Control weight, we are going to drop this down a little bit, and we are going to turn this up to 0.2. This will help bring a bit of a blend between this face and the other face, while still incorporating more of the features of the new face. I think we got everything set right. Give it a second here. Let's see what it does. Okay, so as you can see, we do have something that's quite a bit different than the original face. It's incorporating features of this face here. You can see in the angle of the chin, the cheeks, and even the mouth. Now we can make this a lot more like the original. Let's bring this up to 0.9. I think we'll leave it at 0.2 on the starting step. Here, generate on that. Not much of a difference from the other one, a little bit. I mean, it's definitely incorporating more of the features from this face. Okay, so we can do the starting control step right from the beginning. Make sure this is at 1. We can try that and see if we can make it look almost. You can increase the strength of the ControlNet even more so to really restrict it to this image here, but we're going to try it at 1. Okay, so we got something that definitely looks a lot more like the original. And this is the problem when you're bringing these numbers, like starting right here and in doing ControlNet at 1, is it starts to incorporate other features, not just the face, but other features like the red hair. So let's show you how to use ControlNet to also change the position of the face, like if you want her looking the other direction. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to come up to ControlNet Unit 1. We're going to enable that, Pixel Perfect, upload independent control image. Give it a second to bring that up. We're going to have her looking the other way. In order to do that, we need a face that is looking the other way. So, and honestly, it doesn't even matter what it is as long as ControlNet OpenPose recognizes it. So we're going to drag in this one right here. And as you can see, it is looking the other way. Okay. And we're going to bring the control weight down on this because we want to give it some flexibility. Obviously, the face, and the head are not in the same position as this one right here. So by lowering the control weight down, you are giving the AI the ability to kind of incorporate both of these a little more naturally. Okay, and we're going to go to OpenPose. And I think we can leave it on the defaults. I think it'll switch to OpenPose full. That's fine. We don't care. Well, actually I think we do, because it has shoulders here and shoulders here, and it will try to modify both. But yeah, let's just do face only, or face. Yeah, face only. Okay. All right, now, in order for this to be effective, we do have to mask out quite a bit more of the what do you call it, the features. So we're going to actually just incorporate all this here. Let's open this image up a little bit so we can actually see the whole thing. Okay. Not sure why it does that. Let's see if it brings it in properly here. I have read some things where when you have the DPI on your computer, or like how much it's magnifying things like text and stuff like that, sets to something other than the recommended, that Stable Diffusion has some issues with that. So give me just a second. Okay, so I just saved the image out. I think it's going to work better this way. Yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted to see. Make sure our brush is full size, and we are going to do everything from the neck here all the way around, incorporating all of this, because when she turns her head, that's going to change the dynamic of everything. Her hair, we'll go down to about right there. Make sure we get the whole thing. Okay. Now, let's come back down here. We're going to preview this. So we are, got to re-enable this. Switch it back to here, back to open pose. Let's allow a preview. There we go. And switch to open pose. There we go. Now let's switch it to face only. Do a preview, make sure it actually recognizes the face and builds the facial structure. Nope, it did not. So let's figure something else out here then. We need a different face. Okay, thanks for being patient with me on this. Try this image. See if we can build a face structure off that. Okay, so we got that, okay. We're just gonna go to open pose full here. Interesting. Okay, I think that'll get us what we want. I still don't know if that's what I think the open pose full, this is the one we would normally be on. Just gives a better structure. Huh, interesting. So it's giving kind of the same thing. We're going to run with that and just see what it does. So let's switch back over to this one. Make sure this one's still, yep, we got to re-enable this. Re-enable Pixel Perfect. Do the little switcheroo on this. Go back to IP adapter. Make sure we are on AZ RPG Artist Tools. Make sure it switches to IP adapter. Okay, we're going to switch this down. Incorporate, yeah, no, this one's going to be right from the, actually no, we can do this one a little bit later. Okay, so by incorporating both of these, we're telling it we want the face to be this way and that we want to use this face. So let's give it a try, see if it redirects the face like it's supposed to. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to just go over a few things. I had to change some stuff. I was not getting the result I thought I would get, so part of it was I didn't have my sampling steps turned up. But at the same time, another thing I didn't have was this is not set to a 1-to-1. Anyway, so I had to increase this to get it to give me a lot more flexibility with what was going on with the face. That's why it looks pretty different. But at the same time, what I'm finding when using this, I took Pixel Perfect off, which I think also gives a little more flexibility about where it's applying this in the image. And I turn the control weight all the way up to 2 on this one, which basically really forces it to adapt to this face style, or at least find a more in-between pose versus having it look more like this. As you can see, where her face is looking more that way, it's now turned a little bit. Other images would work better with this. I did a couple where I was able to turn the head all the way around, but I think that's because my source image that I was using the face model on was a little more centered, a little more where it should be, but this turned out pretty good. Okay, I did have to change the starting control step a little bit to give the secondary ControlNet the chance to really kind of turn the head, and didn't really touch the control weight. So starting ControlNet for the first, starting control step on the first ControlNet turned up so that it doesn't start doing this until after it's had a chance to really do this part of it. Okay, and I turned the control weight on this one all the way up. Now, I didn't realize I didn't have this set to a 1-to-1. That may be why it was running a little slower than usual. So we can actually just try running this one more time. I'll let you guys watch this here too. Because you're running two control nets, it may take it a little longer to, for lack of a better term, spool up and start actually doing the generation. There it goes. Yeah, maybe it did work better when I had the resolution changed to a different size, because that's not going to work. As you can see, it did turn the face, but it also kind of shifted things a little too much. Bring that back down to 0.7. And also, that might have had a huge effect on the image as a whole, having that set to a different resolution. Yeah, we're still getting the same effect. So maybe that, I didn't need to turn that all the way up. Let's turn that down a little bit and try it again. Yeah, so turning down the control weight definitely allows the face to kind of start veering back that way, but still we get the face turned. And this will work better in other images. If you have an image that's the same dimensions and everything, I think that would probably work a lot better. So let's try turning an anime, or excuse me, a real person into an anime here. We've transferred a real person's face to an anime. Let's try transferring an anime to a real person's face. So let's get a couple of things in here. Let's get rid of that. And let's grab, who do we have here? That one. And, you know, because, yeah, we'll just run with that. I mean, we'd probably convert the whole image to an anime, but this will be interesting. We are going to do this. Just mask out that whole area. We're just going to describe this. Just a portrait of a blonde anime cartoon woman. I really want to see what happens if we try to do this. And we're going to bring over, don't care about this ControlNet right now. We're going to go to this one. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to drop in, let's see, this one. And we're just going to, yeah, let's leave that about 0.25-ish. And everything else will leave the same. I just want to see what this turns out like. 1-to-1, still on the same. Everything else is the same. I'm going to generate that. So we're taking this realistic picture, and we're going to try and incorporate this face into this image. Yeah, so it actually worked pretty good. Positioned it right. Hair flows right like it should over the shoulders. We get an incorporation of the jacket a little bit more. So the original swoop, there's a definite swoop down here, so it incorporated more of that and blended into the anime face quite a bit. Now, what's interesting about this, we could mask out the entire person and get a pretty interesting result. It'll actually convert the whole person into the style. We could actually use the reference ControlNet option as well to get the style. So we're going to do that. Yeah, so we'll just do that whole part right there. Now we come down here. We got this. I'm going to do this a little lighter just because I want to keep the original person's look a little bit, but incorporate the new person. And it does a pretty good job of incorporating that. So we still have kind of the softness of the original image, but incorporating the sharpness of the anime image. You know, they tend to have more angular faces and features, but it did a really good blend between the two. I think it worked out really well. Now, I wonder, there's something I want to try. Instead of doing this, let's do, actually, no, I want to keep that image. Okay, and then instead of doing this, we're going to do a reference. We're going to do this, bring this all the way up to 1. Okay. Now the reference, what that means, it's going to look at the reference image, and it's, as I regenerate this person, it's going to incorporate features of the reference image, meaning like the style, coloring, that kind of thing. And so I'm just kind of curious to see what this does. So as you can see, it kind of changed the whole pose, but did incorporate that, the styling a little bit. It changed it too much for my liking, though. I'm kind of thinking what I want to do with this is we're going to drop this down to try and keep most of the original person, and we are going to do the same thing with this. But we're going to do a starting control step of 0. We're going to start right from beginning to end. But we're going to try and see if we can keep the original pose and person here. We could actually do that through ControlNet open pose too, but I think this will work out well. There we go, yeah. It's definitely trying to incorporate the two styles, which is interesting. And I'm getting this faded look, which tells me that the VAE is not... It's interesting, it doesn't feel like it's working. Try switching it over to this one here. But because of that, I'm kind of thinking what I'd want to do. We're going to turn this back up. And we're going to go down here to the ControlNet, or the second one. We're going to remove this. We're going to drop in the person's original image. We're going to re-enable this. We're going to do pixel perfect because it's the same size. And leave everything else the same. Well, except for this. I want this to be at a 1. Go back over to here. And bring this down a little bit further. And let's generate that. Okay, as you can see, we are getting something that looks a lot more like the original. Obviously, I'm not describing the clothing, so it is changing the clothing quite a bit. But we are getting the features of the, or the styling, I should say, of the reference image here. But keeping the same pose, kind of the same hair a little bit, you know, same kind of coloring and everything. So overall, we're keeping it. So as you can see, you're getting an idea of the capabilities of this, of the IP adapter for doing faces. It has, I think it's got a wide range of capabilities. I think it's going to be, if you learn to use this, I've played around with it, done a lot of experimentation with it, and I think it's a lot more versatile than using the current face swappers that are out there, like Roop and the successor to Roop by the same company. So I would say definitely play around with this. Let's see if we can do one more here. I'm going to, if you'll stick around with me, you don't have to. This has been a bit of a long video. We're going to do one more here. We're going to try doing something a little different here. Let's grab that guy's face we did before. And we're going to come down here and replace with something. Let's grab this one. Use that as a reference. And we are going to switch this back over to IP adapter. ControlNet, we can get rid of this or disable it. And we got the switch over, and we're going to leave everything the same. And we do have to mask this out. I almost forgot. Make sure we got the right mask. But we're just going to do maybe that. I just want to see what it does when we do just this face. And we're leaving all the other settings the same. We're mask blur at 12. We're doing only mask original. Only mask padding pixels have never changed. It's been at 32 by default, and sampling steps we want up near 50. Yeah, I think it's turned up a little too high on the control weight. It's trying to blend that as best it can, but obviously it's having some issues. So what we would do with that is we turn down the control weight, but I think at the same time we're going to want a little bit more of the original image, using starting the control step a little further along, almost 20% in. I think what we're trying to do here is to try and incorporate something a little more youthful, but what it's doing is it's creating something very... Oh, you know what? I totally forgot. Portrait of an old, disheveled man with wrinkles and messy hair. Homeless style. Okay, sorry, that was my fault. I had the prompt set to a beautiful woman. So I'm like, why am I getting a woman here? This is really interesting. Okay, so let's just double check everything. Let's try that again. I'm going to turn that control weight back up. Yeah, that's definitely a lot better. Now, it's got the head turned a little bit. I don't know. It's like trying to turn the head a little differently. I'm not sure why. I think that might be because of this right here, the denoise strength. We want to kind of keep the original as much as possible. So let's try that. But I do love the stylization and how it changed it. This is one of the key factors of this, is being able to cross styles in images with faces. You get some very cool results. See if we can orient that face a little bit better now. Yeah, the face is still slightly turned, but it looks good. It's incorporating the cartoon style of the image along with features of this image, like the dark eyebrows, kind of cartoony looking, and the big eyes. It's increasing the eye size from the original, which are pretty big, but definitely these are a lot more cartoony. Maintaining a lot of the wrinkles and everything that are based in this image here. As you can see, he has no facial hair, and it's a kid. So we're giving him a younger look, but definitely a much more cartoony look. So take this as it may, you get a lot of variety with this, and you can mix the different image types from cartoon to real, real to cartoon, and various other ones too. It's just all, you're just inpainting it and then choosing what you want to incorporate it. Unlike Roop, I've tried using Roop and its successor to try to put a real face in an anime or vice versa, and it just can't do it. It doesn't understand the difference between the two. Maybe their newer version's a little bit better, but from what I've read up and what people have said is it doesn't do very well with that. But this right here does a phenomenal job. Does a pretty cool integration of the faces. I'm gonna try one more here. Let's run that one through. Wow, yeah. I mean, I'm just going to get rid of the mask so you can see the original here. Being able to incorporate and cross different faces is just phenomenal. And to have this much flexibility over it too. Roop doesn't give you very many options. And this gives you a lot of functionality and a lot of capability. And again, incorporating with, say, ControlNet and being able to kind of turn the head a little bit, or even all the way, depending on how you do it, is very cool to be able to have control over that. So I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial and you get something out of it. I think this is much better and much more flexible than using the other methods. This is how I'm going to be doing it from now on. And yeah, like and subscribe to our channel, like the video, and if you have suggestions or other comments, please feel free to ask them. Tell me what you think of the video, and we'll talk to y'all later.